All right, everybody, welcome back to another weekly training. And I'm kind of pumped because today, well, first let me start by saying thank you everybody who contributed to the workouts for this week. It was awesome getting some newly designed ones. And I figured, what better opportunity than today than to get everybody's input and help in next week's workouts. So even though we got plenty on the calendar, I wanted to still work through that process because I just felt like from everybody, doing what they did this week in helping to design those workouts, I feel like we got a lot out of it. Some good teachable moments and all that stuff. So before we dive into next week's, I want to just quickly go over the one that Rachel and Leo put together for us, which just Heidi and Luke, so you guys know, I added theirs as the last slide right now on ours. So I forget which one of you guys is covering tomorrow, but it is on there now. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pull that workout up. And oops, sorry, let's go back. Okay. All right. So this was the workout that Leo and Rachel put together. So I just want to do like a very quick review over this one. I thought that everything matched up really, really nicely on here. Starting with the dumbbell row and then going to a crunch. The one thing that I would say we'll make an adjustment to is that for the crunch, you definitely want those partials to be at the top. So that should definitely be a fully contracted one right there. And then we go drag curls to sumo squats. And I'm going to come back to this combo in a moment. But what I really wanted to first point out is that everything matches up pretty much perfectly as far as the sequencing of the multi-joint and the compound exercises. So the drag curl to sumo squat, great combo. Chest press to leg curl, great combo. Suspension triceps to hip thrust, same thing. So these are all really good combinations. The only thing that I mentioned now, Leo, you didn't get to hear this yet unless Rachel told you, but I did mention that if there was one thing that I would consider changing, and it's not a necessity, but I think it might be a good idea in this instance, is swapping the drag curl and the lateral raise. And the reasoning behind that was more because, again, with drag curls, it was more about the grip. Oh, wait, did you already change it? Oh, we changed it already. Gotcha. Okay. Originally on here, lateral raises came after the dumbbell row, and then the drag curls were down here at the bottom. And my recommendation was just to take the lateral raise out of here only because, that would influence the dumbbell chest press in a big way, especially when you do a dumbbell-based chest press after coming off of lateral raises. That's going to be really, really hard. And, it might be difficult to get as much as you can out of the chest, just for the simple fact that you're thinking about your shoulders the whole time. So that was the one change that we said we would swap, and Rachel went ahead and did that. And then also it fits nicely here too, because in some ways it works like a pre-exhaust, because with lateral raise now down here at the bottom, the next upper body exercise that we'll be moving to is going to be the shoulder press. So that works out as well as also. And then I think really, honestly, just about all of it was good. The suspension tricep, that might be more of like mid-range versus contracted, but still okay. And then, yeah, just the crunch, leg press, everything else matches up really well. So this, like I said, this was like a really well put together routine. Definitely, I like the variety of going to dumbbell rows, which is something that we don't typically do a lot of. Love having the drag curls in there because, again, that's not an exercise that we do a lot of. So that's really cool to see that in there as well. And then, yeah, everything else matches up nicely. So Well done, gang. All right. Now, while we're on here, let me just go to next week. So next week, we move on to pump and pound. So just a reminder, like we're starting off with 60 seconds of zone training in thirds. So as if people have not had enough yet of doing partial reps. What is this, like the freaking, I don't know, 5th week in a row or something like that of doing partials? We're going to be doing it again, or they're going to be doing it again. So we have that, but it's the 60 seconds and then followed by another exercise with 60 seconds. And then we're going full range of motion for only 30 seconds. So just remember, in most instances, you will probably be bumping the weight up for that 30-second set compared to the first set. So just be mindful that, even if you have people reaching failure on that zone training set, there's a good chance that you're still going to have to bump them up on the next round. The third set, probably not so much. If they're at or near failure on set number 2, then by set number 3, you're probably keeping the weight the same or potentially lowering it a little bit. So that's what we got on tap for next week. We'll take a look at one of those workouts. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to honestly just ask everybody to chime in and help contribute to us building out another workout. So just to give you an idea of what it's looking like. So this is obviously the Lagrangeville and the Danbury template. For the Shrub Oak one, it wouldn't be a 55-degree leg press. It would be more like you're setting the seat at 2, I believe. All right. So now with that, let me just come out of the full screen. And how many do we have already? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we only had 1 week of this built out. So we can kind of all work together right now to build out, at least maybe two more of these things while we're here. And then once again, if anybody who wants to contribute to building out a couple more over the weekend or by early next week, that'd be awesome. And so let's go ahead and do this. Letter there is a placeholder. All right, so just keep in mind though on this routine, where we're doing all upper for 15 minutes and then all lower for 15 minutes. So in terms of putting together our exercises, you're just going down the line and continuing to alternate between a compound and a single joint. And that's a little bit easier to do on this routine, just for the simple fact that, you're not going back and forth between 2 exercises. But also on a routine like this, we're not totally objecting to if there does happen to be 2 compound exercises back to back, as long as they are not for the same muscle group. All right. So that being said, let me just go to my split screen here. All right. So I am just going to call on somebody. I am going to go with Caitlin. Give me our first upper body exercise.
Let's go shoulder press.
What kind of shoulder press?
Neutral.
All right. Rachel, give me our next upper body exercise.
Cable bicep curls.
Heidi, give me our next upper body exercise.
Pec deck.
All right, Luke, I'm going to stop you from chewing for a moment. Give me your the next upper body exercise.
Suspension tricep.
Tara, give me our next upper body exercise.
Pull down. Let's do a underhand pull down.
All right, Doug, give us our first lower body.
Leg press.
All right, Leo.
Leg curl.
All right, Deneen. No, she might be occupied at the moment, so it's fine. I'm going to give our next one. We're going to go. Ooh, that could be pretty brutal. But let's do it anyway. We're going to go front squats. You know what? Let's just do this front squat as a not in the machine, but more like a goblet squat, right? Like just a regular dumbbell front squat. All right, Heidi, give me another lower.
How about adduction?
All right. Luke, give me one more lower.
Deadlift.
All right. Cool, guys. All right, so let's just walk through this and just see. But I think this is a good exercise just to see how this routine matches up. So again, I think what makes this routine a little bit easier is just the fact that we are spending a full 15 minutes on each side of the gym. So shoulder press to curls to pec deck to suspension tries to pull downs. All right, so on this one, what I would probably look to do is maybe just add in, just because we have three single joint exercises in a row. So we probably want to break this up a little bit. So let's do.
Maybe, Mike, push-ups. Would
Yep.
push-ups work rather than pec deck?
I like it.
Haven't done those in a while.
Yeah. That's definitely a good one.
Sorry, Heidi.
It's okay. It's actually shocking I didn't choose push-ups.
Yeah. They're so empowering that
They are. Yeah. Took the words right out of my mouth, Mike.
All right. I think that's pretty good. I think that really, that definitely hits on everything. We wind up, the questions that we always should be asking ourselves is, did this cover every major muscle group in the upper body? Answer, yes, right? So we're good to go there. All right, cool. So now we go over to the lower side. We've got leg press. And one thing that I'm just going to point out here, I think what we could probably do a better job of is being more conscientious, especially with the leg press. Like we have multiple settings. we can all be setting those seats at different positions. And I think too many times we have a leg press up on the board and we don't give enough consideration to, what are the different ways that we could be doing this leg press, and factoring that into how we're building the workout. So for example, like if we're doing the leg press and we have the seat back in the most upright position, yes, it's going to shorten the range of motion, but it's going to probably target the hips a little bit more than the quads. So in this case, considering that we got this dumbbell front squat that we're going to do, which is going to really hit the quads pretty hard, it's probably not a bad idea to do this leg press where it's upright. So I can't remember the degrees for you guys that are using the Nautilus 1 leg press. I mean, I could say that for us in Shrub Oak, right, the setting should be number 4. So we want to have number 4 as the setting. For you guys, I can't remember if it's 60 degrees or whatever it is, but whatever the most upright position is, like that's what we want to go to. So I'm just going to, for now, as sort of like a placeholder, I'm just going to write upright. And that fits in nicely because if that's going to target the glutes a little bit more, we know we're not really hitting them much at all in the leg curl. We're not hitting them pretty much at all in the front squat. We're doing adduction versus abduction, so we're not hitting them there. And then we will hit them here on the stiff-legged deadlift. So this is good. Here's my only concern with the stiff-legged deadlift. My only concern is that if anybody is doing the stiff-legged deadlift before they get to leg press, that's one of those scenarios where you are pre-fatiguing their low back, and when they get to the leg press, that is sometimes where injury could occur. I'm not saying it's going to, but it could, because we don't necessarily want to like pre-fatigue those muscles too badly. So a couple of options here. Like what we could do is even though it would be 2 compound exercises and 2 big ones back to back, you could put stiff-legged deadlift where the adduction is and adduction where stiff-legged deadlift is, just to give a little bit of a break before going to leg press. Plus that's, again, you're talking about 2 really big exercises. And this is just how, I would be thinking about it in terms of, a client. Like how well are they going to perform after coming off of a really heavy stiff-legged deadlift? How well are they going to perform in the leg press? Like, are they going to have everything they have available? Probably not. So I'm cool with keeping both of these in here. But I think that in this scenario, this is where breaking our rule of 2 compound exercises, which technically, if you want to get really technical about it, stiff-legged deadlift is a single joint exercise. Like you're only actually moving at the hip joint. We just kind of lump it in with our multi-joint exercises, our compound exercises, because it's such a big exercise and you are targeting so many muscle groups at one time. So this is going to be a brutal combo right here, but to me, I'd rather have that brutal combo of dumbbell front squats to stiff-legged deadlifts versus deadlifts to leg press. Make sense? Cool. Awesome, guys. That was fun. Let's go. Oh, wait. And then we also have to put in the, I almost forgot, for the zones. So shoulder press. Who wants to give me what the zones would be?
Would it be middle, then upper, then lower?
That is actually probably the ideal one on this. Just again, with this particular exercise, just because shoulder press is one of those funky exercises, you could do contracted first. You could do upper, middle, and then the stretch position, then the bottom. Okay. But what I'm just going to point out to everybody is that you really have to watch the clients on this one. Like when they're going into that third zone, there is a chance that they will be tapped out and that they cannot do that zone properly without a drop in weight. So just, again, be mindful of that. Watch them. If they look like they're getting no range of motion at that point, then go ahead and drop the weight for them. You know, have them set it down. Like there's definitely no fault in doing that. All right, cable curls. We're looking at the same thing here. This should be middle. Well, they'll actually on the cables, because it's cables. If it was dumbbells, it would definitely be middle and then top and then bottom. But for cables, you can go this way. Does anybody know why?
The weight is pulling from you with the cable, the way the resistance is going, as opposed to a dumbbell.
So exactly, like the thing is with a dumbbell, right? When you get, if you go back to what's his name, Bill DeSimone, right? That moment arm exercise, which is in everybody's education kit that they have access to. But if you ever read like moment arm exercise, like he talks a lot about this stuff. It's all about leverages. And when you're lifting a dumbbell and you're in that fully contracted position, the weight technically is at 0 on a dumbbell, right? Because again, the weight travels from your fist all the way down through your elbow, and now there's very little resistance on the biceps. So when we're doing dumbbell curls, the hardest part of the range of motion is the middle. But on a cable, it's a completely different situation because, you know, the weight is not loaded through your fist. The cable is actually pulling away from you, right? So if I'm here and I'm in this position, the cable and the weight is pulling in that direction. And because you're lifting a weight stack, the weight stack is also resisting gravity. So the higher that weight stack goes, the more you're fighting the weight stack plus gravity. So on a cable, it's almost always harder in the fully contracted position. So that's what would make it different between a cable curl and a dumbbell curl.
Mike, I don't know if you want to just make the oh, never mind. I was gonna say the verbiage consistent because a lot of them were doing like middle, upper, lower, and some of them are stretch, close, middle. Like the
Gotcha.
wording is kind of like we're using more than one.
Yeah, let me look back. I was writing, so I wasn't even. Gotcha. Okay. Yep. Understood.
And I just have a like question / statement sort of thing. So like, obviously we know what like contracted stretch means, things like that. But yeah, for like the purposes of our clients, like not that we can't tell them what it means, but for them reading the board, like middle, upper, lower, I feel like it's easier for them to understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So
No, agreed. I'm totally in agreement with you guys.
Okay. Okay, cool.
I mean, part of the purpose of going to the board and trying as often as possible to write the entire name of the exercise out versus using all of our, shorthand, all the abbreviations was exactly that. Like, let a client read it. If they at least know what the exercise is, they could start walking over to it themselves, right? All right. Push-ups. So which would it be?
Oh, lower, middle, top.
Yep.
Upper.
All right. This is always a tricky one. So suspension tricep extensions.
Like, would it be back first and then middle and then straight out?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing with the suspension tricep extension. You can pretty much do almost anything and not be wrong. And the only reason why I say that is because, you can always have them move their feet. You can always have them move their feet. Like the whole purpose of zone training is to flatten the strength curve, right? It's to make the exercise feel hard or at least equally hard through all the points of the range of motion. Which, if you're doing full range of motion, you're going to recognize, hey, this part of the range of motion is easy, this part's hard. So we're always thinking in terms of our zone, like, what is the most difficult part, or where do people get stuck? But on a suspension, you can always just quickly adjust the feet to make the exercise harder or to make it easier. And so because of that, you could decide, like, I'm going to start this person in the middle, and then I'm going to have them, go to full extension, but I'm going to have them bring their feet back. And then by the time they go to the stretch position, they're going to probably have to walk their feet all the way forward. So we'll definitely do what Luke's recommendation, which is, how would we write this though? Because this one is, I guess, back, right? You said back.
Yeah.
Back, mid, and upper. Okay. That makes sense.
Upper confusing though, because upper feels like it's a
Upper full
it's
extension. Yeah, I mean, like, it would be
Yeah.
fully extended, but I think they'll understand. That's what we're there for, is to make sure they understand. All right, so now underhand pull downs. Lower, mid, and upper.
I have a question. For clients who can't do a push-up, if I were to throw them on the TRX bands, the suspension system, would you still want to do lower first?
On that, yes. Yeah, that would be the same. So yeah, you could do it on TRX, or, the other option too is if you have a bench, let me just see, in this case, in this workout. So in this workout, your bench would be free. So you could always have them do it too, where they're placing their hands on the bench. And so now their body is at an angle versus, a regular push-up, which, especially when doing zones, is not a bad idea. Sometimes that's better than having them do it from their knees, just because, I don't know. I just like the idea of being at that angle. Might be a little bit easier. But yeah, on the suspension, it would be the same. All right, leg press. What's the sequence?
All the way in, middle, out.
Yep. So lower, mid, upper. Get rid of up. Oops, sorry. Get rid of it. All right, it. No, sorry. Once I shrink that, it should be okay. Okay. All right, leg curl.
Go all the way in,
All the way.
middle, and then top.
Lower, mid, upper. Front squat.
lower mid up.
Yep, that's the same. You could just copy this one. Why is my thing not copying? Like a deadlifts.
Lower, mid.
All the way down. Yeah.
And adduction.
All the
Outer.
way in, middle, out.
Oh.
Yep. Inner, mid, outer. Spelled correctly, but we're rolling with it. It just looks weird to me. Awesome. All right. Well done, everybody. Let's do it one more time.
Do you want the notes to say Saturday or something else?
Oh yeah, we'll have to change that. Well, this would be Monday, so this is week 2. This is going to be Tuesday. While I'm doing this, who wants to give me our first upper body exercise for the Tuesday workout?
Did we take pec deck
How
off the
about
last?
Yeah, we took pec deck off of the last workout.
Yeah, so let's put it in here.
I like it.
And you want to just write like in, all the way in, middle, out for it while you're doing it?
Yeah. I guess we'll go inner, mid, outer. Does that make sense to everybody? You think clients will understand that? I hope so.
yes?
Yeah, they will, yes.
All right. What's our next upper body?
Lat pullover.
Oh yeah, the 60-degree pullover, right?
Hang on, I got you.
Go ahead.
Okay.
All right, next up.
How about a tricep kickback dumbbell?
That would be upper, mid, lower. Okay, next.
Overhand row.
Let's see, how do we write the row? Because it's all the way back, so
Close. Inner.
yeah, let me look on one of our other close
Slightly.
mid stretch.
Yeah, we did contracted mid stretch on one of those.
Yeah, close makes, I think people understand
Yeah.
that.
Agree.
And then what about like lateral raise or something? Like front raise or lateral raise?
That could be hard to go from lateral raise. Oh no, never mind. I like it back.
Upper,
Mid.
I had to jump in before Heidi said something else that I don't like because I don't like back. And I'm like, another one.
I know. I'm not a fan of kickbacks either.
We do them on the bar instead.
Well, technically, so here's the thing. Technically, you could, because you're using this side for pullovers, and then you have the other side. Like I know that the way our place sets up, we couldn't. The way we've had our pullover set up this week, we couldn't do it that way. For us, it would have to be it would have to be dumbbell kickbacks. But yes, like to answer your question, Sarah, you could do it as a strap kickback and use the cable.
Yeah, and I only say that because we did tricep kickbacks this week in the workout, and just to watch them even try to do it, I feel like, and I give them direction, but I just feel like they're not getting it as best as they can with the straps or with something on the machine, and so that's why when I saw it, I was like, oh, those tricep kickbacks.
Yeah, listen, I definitely agree. I mean, to me, it is one of the tougher exercises for a lot of people to get right. You tend to see that. I always notice like there's a lot of rounding in their upper back, their arms, even though they should be locked in at their side, they don't stay there. They don't do as good of a job hinging at the elbow. And that's really like how the exercise should be done. It should look like super mechanical. I mean, they should look like they're doing the robot. If they're doing it properly, like all my 80s kids, thanks. They should look like they're doing the robot. And if they don't look like that, then chances are they're executing it improperly and definitely not getting as much as they can out of it. Now, all of that said, I feel like it's one of those exercises as well that we need to be more conscientious about having them drop their weights really low. Like, to be honest, if I'm doing it with 12-pound dumbbells, most of our ladies should not be at 10-pound dumbbells on that exercise or 12-pound dumbbells, because it's a finesse exercise. It's 100% about finesse. It's about proper position, proper execution. So if you feel like they're getting better or getting more out of it by doing it on the cables, then cool. Like, use the cables. Not a big deal.
The other exercise that's not on any of these is dips, if you want to put that in instead.
That's a good one.
And I do like those. Those are good.
I like that too. I'm glad we're all in agreement. We all hate the same stuff. We like the same stuff. And that to me fits in better because, again, right here, what do we have? We have two multi-joint. We have three single joint exercises in a row.
Yeah.
Again, we want to avoid that. Granted, chest and lats, those are bigger muscle groups, which kind of makes up for it. But ideally, I would probably do this. I love having Leo's overhand row. So we're going to put that there. However, now we definitely run into an issue though, because whether we do tricep kickbacks or we do dips, doing that right after a pullover or right before a pullover is going to significantly limit our pullover.
Yeah.
Isometric bicep curl.
No.
No.
Oh, no. Thank you. No, thank you. But it's interesting. I mean, we could go back, keep the 60-degree pullover. We do the dips. But here's what we're going to run into is that everybody's got to know where they're doing the dips, because if you're using your bench for the pullover, can't use that bench for the dips, which is okay. Like, I would say that for us, I would use the seat of the shoulder press.
Yeah, we could use the seat of our what do you call it? The crunch machine too.
Yeah. So just as long as everybody's aware that, when you're setting up for the workout, if you don't have an extra bench available, then you're going to have to use something else. And that's typically, again, another piece of equipment.
And I saw what Doug put in the comments. He said you can use the handles on the hip extension, but I have found that to be like weird for me when I was doing them. I felt like it was like too far apart, like it was too wide, sort of, and maybe it was too high. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like for short and tall people, even if you lower it on the lowest thing, does that make sense?
No, I think you're right. Like, so for Doug, right, Leo, guys who are on the taller side compared to the rest of us, it totally, it could totally work. Or Doug, do you mean not turning around and doing dips, but rather doing them like you would do regular, like on a dip machine?
No, similar to the bench dips, just using those handles from the hip extension.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I think that if somebody is tall enough to make it work, then that's fine. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I just think you have to be the right size. If somebody's not the right size, it's going to make it difficult. So just again, as long as there's another piece of apparatus that you can use for you guys, like I said, you can use your shoulder press. We're going to probably use our shoulder press. You can use the pull down since that's not being used in this workout. Just the key is dropping the seat low enough. Just always keep in mind that you want that seat set to a similar height as your bench. So just make sure that that's the position that it's in and that you just keep it there the entire time. All right. But I like how this is shaping up now.
I was going to suggest hip extension on the lower anyway. So then we're going to be using that.
True. So if we're going hip extension, then we must take that out. So we want to do hip extension on a lower. I think we're good. I think we're really set here on the upper. We're hitting everything. Direct chest work. That always makes me happy. Again, 2 back exercises. Since we're not doing a compound upper body exercise, right? Chest exercise. That means we have to do the dips to directly work the triceps, and it's going to hit some shoulders. And then we have to do some direct work for the shoulders, and the lateral raise is definitely our best option. One thing that I'm going to just throw out there for you guys regarding the lateral raise, this is just something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I've been making the change myself personally, is doing lateral raises seated. And the reason why is just simply because there's less opportunity for somebody to cheat. They can't lean back as hard when they're seated because they'll fall over. And it also means, though, that you can reduce their weight a little bit. So I know a bunch of our colleagues will never, ever do a standing lateral raise with people. I think it's ridiculous. I think you absolutely can. But just something to consider, every so often, switching off to going to a seated lateral raise is definitely not a bad idea. And remember, you can just use any piece of equipment that's open to do it. You don't have to have the bench. You just need some place to sit. All right. So anyway, let's go back to lower body. So we want to throw hip extensions in there. I'm just going to throw this out there because I had Heidi and Luke doing it this week. Had a couple clients that I made do it. On the hip extension, we typically do it where we're having people hold a weight, right? And I think I did this to, was it you, Leo? So what you can do on this is, instead of using a weight, you can actually have people do it with their arms extended straight out. The same way that you would if you had them on the floor doing Supermans. And when you do that, it changes the entire exercise. It actually becomes a lot more low back, which, there's not a lot that we could do that hits the low back directly as well, other than Supermans or Superwomans. So doing those hip extensions on there, you actually get around 2 problems. Number one, not getting to hit the lower back hard enough. Doing it that way, you will. And then the other issue is, because for all of us, the hip extension is so low, when people come down and they're holding a weight, you almost have to lift the weight up in order to make it not hit the floor. So you can get rid of the weight altogether. You could get their arms extended and have them focus on their lumbar a lot more during that exercise.
Cool.
So try it. I guarantee you will freaking feel it. Probably like never before. And all the coaching points are the same with regards to pushing the heels down, still focusing on the hamstrings and glutes. It'll just bring more low back into it. And I know Heidi was kind of laughing at me the other day because I was on a hip extension and I grabbed an 8-pound dumbbell. And she's like, "What the hell are you doing with an 8-pound dumbbell?" and it was because I was holding my arm straight out. And by the time, like, that the last part of the exercise came around, I couldn't hold it anymore. I actually had to drop the weight. So, it's an awesome way of doing it.
Mike, can we just quickly, and anyone can chime in here on this, talk about the back? Like, the first thing people always say a lot on that one is, it hurts my lower back. I feel it in my lower back. But we know that there's like a muscle there that they're working.
Yep.
So what are some things you say, verbiage we can use to talk them through it and get them to understand, like, that's okay, you're going to feel it there, but like differentiate between the two, that they're not hurting their back, because so many of them say that it hurts my lower back, I'm not doing this right.
Well, the moment, again, I don't know how anybody else responds to it, but when somebody says to me, oh my gosh, this is killing my lower back, my response is, oh, good. Like, literally, oh, good. That means you're doing it right. And then oftentimes they're like, oh, really? Yeah, this exercise is supposed to target your lower back. So you shouldn't be shocked that you're feeling it there. It works your hamstrings, your glutes, and your low back. And the truth is, you're probably sitting most of the day, and those muscles don't get any stimulation. So this is the best thing that you could be doing.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And Doug, what he dropped in here is a good point. This is an important distinction. If they're doing the exercise correctly with proper form and they're feeling it in their lower back, that's good. But what he said in the comments is, I always say, pull your shoulders back and don't round out your low back. That's true. Because there can be improper performance, and if they're doing it with a rounded back, it still might be okay in terms of them stimulating their muscles, but it's definitely not the way they should be doing the exercise. And you can always point people to focusing more on their hamstrings and glutes. I mean, it is an exercise that you're always going to feel it in the lower back, but really, if you want to get technical about it, it's a hip exercise. It's intended to target the glutes more so than anything. So, but my response is, oh, good, and that's exactly, because now they know, oh, I guess I am supposed to be doing that, or I guess that is okay. So it's always going to be how we respond to it. Makes all the difference. I'm going to put that in there after the fact, but we're going to say arms up for that one. And this would be the upper, mid, and lower. This is also one of those exercises where if you wanted to, you could start mid. You could do mid, upper, lower. Like, you're not going to be wrong if you did that either. So if that's just something you want to try with some people, just go for it. All right. What's our next exercise after hip extensions?
How about squat block? Not sissy squat, regular squat on the block.
I like that, because in many ways, you actually beat me to a point that I wanted to make, which was, you want to think now, they just came off of this hip extension. We're going to have them do it with their arms up, which is going to really target their lower back. So this next exercise is important. Like, what we do here is huge, because you don't want them going into the exercise and feeling like their low back is just absolutely smashed. But on the squat block, it's definitely more of a quad emphasis. So you're actually taking some of that stress that would be on their lower back, and you're shifting it to their quads. So that's good. The other thing too is, when going to this is, again, one of those scenarios where you could technically drop their weight a little bit, especially if their lower back is fatigued from doing the hip extensions. You don't want them to go to the squat block with fatigued hips and low back, and then you're handing them a heavy weight, which, to the point that Doug just made, now all of a sudden they're going to be rounding their back because they're just too weak to hold it in the proper position. So, like, awesome exercise to do. satisfies our compound exercise, and it should, done properly, go a little lighter and really have them just emphasize each zone, and that should do it. And this will be lower, mid, upper. All right, cool. What do we got next, gang?
Tabs.
Cool. I like it. I always like a lot of calves in my workout, so everybody here knows that too.
I was just gonna say that, Mike.
Yeah,
Put it this way, if Leo didn't say it, I was going to say it.
Can we throw a crunch in here somewhere?
Yes, we absolutely can. What I would do in this case is I would throw crunches down here. And this is going to make for a nice combination of abs and low back. So you want to talk about like some hardcore core work, doing a crunch and then going to hip extensions with the arms extended. Oh, you're going to get so many complaints. Excited. Not ours. Somebody dropped, but
Nope, we dropped.
we did. Looks like we're still on.
Can anybody hear us?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I think just Heidi's sound dropped. Something happened on Heidi's end.
I thought we were stuck in the metaverse.
No. She wrote, my sound dropped, calling back, not your sound.
All right. So you guys have the option
I'm
of
back.
doing the crunch machine. Yes. You guys have the option of using the crunch machine, which is exactly what I would do on that one. We'll very likely do this as a ball crunch, but that would be an option open to everybody as well. And so now we need one more exercise in here. So what do we got? I have an idea.
Lunges.
That
There we
was
go.
so weird. I whispered it and Rachel said it.
And that's exactly what I was thinking too. Let's be very, hold on 1 second. Okay, so lunges is one of these exercises where we're only going to be doing each exercise one time. So you can't do that one in zones. So we can do it, but just know that the lunges are not going to be done in zones. Or
What if we alternate for the first 45 and then it's all right leg, all left leg? Does that totally break?
hold on, talk me through it.
So the 45-second set is alternating lunge, right leg, lunge, left leg, right leg, left leg. And then the set 2 is all right leg. Set 3 is all left leg.
Gotcha. Okay. Everybody clear on that? So this is going to be, let's just put it here. Let's go alternating. And
Right. You know, right for 30, left for 30.
yeah. Okay. Cool. I like it. Good stuff, guys. This is good because I love like
That's good.
getting everybody's, input on all this. And so I'm gonna stop the screen share right now. All of you, any of you, you're welcome to go in there and design another workout, right? That takes care of Monday and Tuesday of the second week. But it'd be awesome to still have a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then what I would encourage everybody to do is, listen, we spent a lot of time putting together that exercise list, right? We want to see more variety. We want to see different things in there. So I would pull out that list when going to design the workout. You know, one exercise that kept popping up in my head that we didn't put on this, skull crushers, right? Like everybody loves skull crushers. And even better than just dumbbell skull crushers or cable skull crushers. Like those are freaking amazing. Just know that when you do those, you're going to have to hand the bar to the person. Like that's not going to be one where you could just tell them, hey, you're doing skull crushers. You're going to have to be there, or somebody has to be there to help them get that bar into position. But awesome exercise. So yeah, I would just bust open that list and, get working on some and just let me know when you have it done. And this way I could just go in, take a peek, and we can talk about any alterations.
Awesome.
Excellent. You had anything?
No, it's awesome.
All right.
Excellent.
Awesome work today, guys. I feel like that was really productive. I don't know about you, but I feel
It's
good.
good.
So cool. All right. Well then, everybody can go and enjoy their weekend. Thank you guys very much. And we'll catch up with you next week.
Sounds good. Have a good weekend, everyone.
You too.